Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Huddle, a black and gold podcast where we talk about the Steelers occasionally.
Yeah.
And we also welcome in our great host, Mr. Gage. Ryan, how you doing, Gage?
Sensational. How are you, my friend?
Uh, sensational? Yeah. Classic slurring of the S. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you a question right off the hop?
Let's do it.
What was that? What What was that? Hello?
We really went. We had maybe the best defensive performance we've had in years one week to a complete falling apart at the seams, at least offensively. I don't really want to hold this against the defense all too much. Yeah, they didn't play well down the stretch, but also whenever you get 3 points of production through almost four entire quarters, you can't really expect them to do a whole lot. This is an offense problem way more than it is a defense problem for 1 week at least. Because I find that normally our offense is the better unit of the group, despite what like rankings and offensively and defensively I might show you. I actually heard that now our what is it that our defense is ranked worse than our offense somehow, which is very impressive. But ultimately, I don't put this on the defense. Ultimately, this is an Aaron Rodgers problem. It was an Arthur Smith problem. There's plenty of blame to go around, but for as pro Arthur Smith as I've been, I gotta hold the L on this one because he did not sequence his plays well. He did not. It was not a good performance, pretty much by anybody on at least one side of the ball, arguably too.
You see this? You see that logo? That
Yeah,
logo stunk up the house. Okay,
it did.
from coaching to special teams to offense to defense, all the way across the board. This was not Steeler football.
Hmm.
Okay,
It wasn't.
you have to agree with me on that. This was clearly not a Steeler football game. Five-star matchup talks about those games that you look back on that you wish you could have had. And
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be one of those games that you're going to be punching yourself in the stomach because this is a game that you probably should have had,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the statement game that you did against the Colts the week before. I mean, I agree with you, man. This was a complete turd
There's
compared to
no
what we saw the week before.
it was a complete 180 in a lot of ways because I felt like a lot of the progress that you saw with the Colts game was just not on display the very next week. There's really not a lot of momentum to speak of, if you will. It just kind of seems like yeah, we could win or we could lose. Like it's just kind of one of those.
I mean, okay, would you much rather have been beaten by Danny Dimes or would you have much rather been beaten by Justin Herbert?
Well, that's a strong counter argument. I like this loss just falls on the offense to me more than anything else. I thought that the defense did an adequate job against Herbert. They've done decently against Herbert in the past. I think that like giving them short fields and giving them no time of possession and just giving the ball back repeatedly, kind of like they did, was a way bigger factor in it than any kind of defensive fault.
Okay.
Let me look up
I
time of possession.
I agree with you to a certain extent where last week most of the points came off of the turnovers that happened from the defense.
Yep.
And there was very little time of possession. They hardly ran any plays. You know what I mean. They didn't even get up to 10 first downs until the second half,
Chargers won the time of possession battle 37 minutes to 22.
all day long.
So they
And
dominated time of possession. They had the ball whenever they wanted. And like for the defense to hold up, what do I think the Chargers, what did they have? Like 3 points or 10 points kind of going into the third quarter. They had a solid hold on that offense, but I think once it started to fall apart, everything fell apart.
so,
Aaron. Oh god.
yeah, no, what I was just going to say is this. In the last, what, 5 games now,
Mhm.
defense has given up an average of 197 yards on the ground.
Ugh.
They've given up an average of 27 points per game. That's ridiculous. You're never going to win it. And especially if you're only scoring 12 or 13 points per game. Like, that's never going to work out.
What they've been doing in previous years, and I think a lot of this has to do with the implementation of Terrell Austin and how they wanted to, how Tomlin and them wanted to run the defense. But they are way more concerned about holding them to three than they are actually stopping them, in my opinion. That was kind of the theory that people were speculating the last year or two is like the whole bend but don't break thing. It's like, okay, yes, that's good, but if you're still 28th in the league and giving things up, then you're not going to win those games. Like
Exactly.
needs to be a give and a take. Like the Giants that won the Super Bowls against the Patriots. They weren't necessarily great defenses pretty much at all, but they knew when to turn it on and they knew they could get turnovers when they needed to. There has to be a give and a take when you play that style. And right now it doesn't feel like there's much. And we can't torture Daniel Jones into relapsing into Danny Derps. I worry about our defense.
That's what I'm trying to get to here. It's not just an offense problem, it
Mm-hmm.
is a huge defense problem. Look, that's something that's been being talked about over the last 5 weeks now with the Steelers. Yeah, it's the most expensive defense and blah, 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 blah. And you're not getting the kind of play that you were supposed to be getting out of big play Slay. And you're not getting the kind of play that you were supposed to be getting out of, Jalen Ramsey. And you weren't getting the kind of play you were supposed to be getting out of this guy and this guy and this
A
guy and this
supposed
guy.
Hall of Fame defense. Do you remember that in the offseason? It was supposed to be one of the best defenses in
Yeah, well,
Steeler
you,
history.
my favorite saying is don't start frying the fish until they're in the boat.
Don't count your
Okay.
chickens till they hatch.
Okay, whatever way you want to put it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
until that actually happens, now you got what's his face now, Slay in concussion protocol, will more than likely miss the game against Cincinnati. Okay,
Mhm.
you pushed uh, Jalen Ramsey back there to be your safety,
Got rid of
right?
Juan Thornhill.
You got rid of Thornhill. You got rid of Beanie Bishop.
Hmm. Why did they get
Eccles,
rid of Beanie? That one bothers me. Does that bother you?
yes, Eccles is good, but
He is
now
better than expected. I will put it that
now
way.
they did a move or whatever, and they were able to bring in some help.
Mhm. Kyle
And
Duger.
yeah, Kyle Duggar, and there was another guy that Asante Samuel Jr. they brought in as well too,
Right. Right.
right? And
In theory, these are pretty solid additions, in my opinion. I mean, at least with Kyle Duggar, like when he came out, he was supposed to be kind of the Swiss Army knife of the Patriot defense, and I'm not quite sure to what degree he lived up to that, but I do know that he was pretty solid with Belichick's kind of scheme. And I don't know. I think I would probably take him right now over Darius Slay or whoever.
you know, I'm with you on that. I think that was a good pickup. They are
Hmm.
supposed to be getting uh, Jabril Peppers back.
Jabril, yep,
Yeah, they're
yep.
supposed to be getting him back, and I just saw somebody else too. They're supposed to be getting back.
Getting all these former Patriot players
Yeah, Isaac Samalu is supposed to
out.
be
Yep,
coming back, right? Because he didn't play against the Chargers.
yeah. And our
Which
our line, we need all the help we can get, man.
okay, so what I was trying to get to is it's not just an offensive issue; it's a defensive issue. When you're
Mm,
constantly giving up 33, 31, 27, 25, when you're giving up that many points on a consistent basis, I don't care how many times you're taking the ball away, right? Because in those games where they were giving up all those points, they weren't taking the ball away and they were getting lit up because it's
hmm.
like every single team comes in and already knows the MO of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be Tomlin 2 cover, Tomlin cover 2, right? Everybody's going to be in a zone and they're just going to tell the receivers, "Hey, run to the hole, the ball will be there." Well, seriously, you got Justin Herbert, Danny Dimes, pick Joe Flacco. Any one of those quarterbacks is going to just throw it right to the open gaps. Come on, it's
I
not
was
rocket
listening
science.
I was listening to, I think it was 93.7 The Fan. They have their like
Yep.
TikTok clips that always go viral on my feed. And I was listening to one of them talk about how what a crazy idea it was that somebody that there were people out there that would have preferred with that Colts game. They would have preferred three and outs, so to speak, rather than six turnovers. And I don't remember who it was. One of them thought that that was just a baffling, crazy concept. But to me, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that these games are now starting to show why that's important. Is that it's important to be able to stop the opponent, I guess is the point I'm getting at. For as obvious as that is, it really does feel like our defense either gives up a score or gets a turnover with very little in between in that.
Okay,
I don't
now
know.
I'm with you now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I
agree with
actually
that.
think like it would have been great to get stops, like get them off the field because they couldn't get an open receiver and not because Daniel Jones screwed up or TJ Watt finally shed a block. Like, you know what I mean? One of these things feels far more sustainable. And I think that this past game is a good example.
Yeah, no, dude, I think that's a great point, and I think that's a great way to look at it because you need to be able to sustain these kinds of things, especially if you're an offensive team or even on defense or whatever. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You need to be able to sustain that. I agree. I think it would have been better getting the three and outs from Indianapolis and putting your offense back on the field and getting them more reps would have been way better because
Time of
they would have.
possession.
See, the best way to play offense is to play offense. If they're constantly showing pictures of Aaron Rodgers sitting there on the bench chewing his cud or spitting sunflower seeds or whatever it is he does on the bench, right?
Yeah.
That's not being very productive. That's not helping our team win. If
What's
your
that old
defense
timey
is out
phrase?
there,
It's like the best defense is a good offense. Just keep them on the field and it eliminates the problem altogether.
that's what they used to do against Tom Brady. And the best way to
Yes.
beat Tom Brady was to keep him on the sidelines chewing his sunflower seeds and yelling and screaming and throwing the the poor little laptop. That's the best way to beat the Patriots. Well, guess what? That's the best way to beat the Steelers is keep their defense on the field because I guarantee you'll be able to do whatever you want up and down the field, right?
I get that there's an element with cover two and cover three and all those kind of coverages the Steelers like to build their defenses around. That there is an element of giving up checkdowns, right? Like Vic Fangio's defense is like that, where he loves cover four and all that stuff, and he loved Kyle Fuller and those kind of guys that can play those responsibilities super well. I know that like Vic does kind of the same thing in a weird way. He doesn't. I don't think he blitzes. I think he blitzes more than Tomlin does normally, if memory serves me. But they kind of have the same philosophy. But at a certain point, you need to sit down on some of these routes, and I feel like. For a lot of times, especially whenever we play Joe Flacco, which is why I'm worried about this Bengals game, is that they just kind of have the habit of kind of giving up the same thing over and over again. What was it? 23 targets for Chase and like 16 receptions. We got to be better with that, or else this game is looking mighty scary as well.
I mean, Flacco went what 12 receptions in a row,
Something like
right,
that.
against us, right? 12 in
Who
a row.
who went 20 completions in a row against us?
I believe that was Danny Dimes.
Was that Danny Derps? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's impressive.
dude threw he had 50 attempts because they had no running game at all, none. Right? I think Taylor had like 14 attempts in rushing,
Like
right? And
45 yards, something like that.
you're right, exactly, right. You were not running against the Steelers that day, but
Hmm.
see, that's the thing that kills me. There's no consistency. If you're going to take the ball away six times and hold the opposition to 45 yards rushing, although you did give up 349 yards passing and 200-yard receivers, and you still gave up 20 points.
It's frustrating because again, it's a lot of the same things. I wonder what.
It's like you
Oh
bang
God,
your head up against the screen, right? Oh man, that hurt. Hey, next week. Oh man, that next week comes.
Oh, man.
Man,
That
that
clip,
hurts.
that clip of Julian Edelman, like the Steelers do this thing, I never change it. It will sit me forever, I think, because it was so true. And someone, I think a lot of players say this kind of stuff. They just don't say it in the media because they probably like my good coach and burn that. But it was funny to hear an actual player finally be like, "Yeah, why don't they change anything that they do?" Like, hey, someone said it, great.
So I saw a quote that's very strange.
Oh,
It's by, and I don't know all the sources on this. I just saw a quote. I was reading an article, and the quote something about um, the things that the Steelers are trying to do are going to affect this team now and into the future. And I'm going to start. Okay,
either.
I think they're wrong because I think his message is old. I think it's his past. I think you're never going to anything because he is consistently being out coached. He has no idea what clock management is. He has no idea the concept of going for on fourth down when you're in territory instead of going for it on fourth down when you're in hard territory. I mean, just a suggestion that I'm like, I mean, I get you're one of the smartest guys in football, quote unquote. All you do is talk about situational ball, but yet you have consistently failed at situational ball.
Yeah, can I actually ask? Because you have a lot more experience, a lot more on the field experience than I was a few when I was a real little kid football. But I always thought about this, the fact that what goes into a coach's decisions to not change, I guess, to not make any kind of steadfast change.
So honestly, I have no idea what's going on in his head because every coach that I was ever that I ever got to be a part of, some really good and some just really weren't. Like my high school football coach is not very good. He was very like Tom was doing. He thought he knew what was working, and he was like, keep playing down, keep playing down. Even though it didn't work, he didn't have the personnel, right? Like other teams in the 3 years of high school ball, I think we won 11 games. You won 11 games.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And we had a all-state running back. I mean, we had some pretty good guys on the team, but the coach just was more concerned about giving his players a leg up in school and class. He wasn't really worried about what was going on in the field. Practices were really. And I've been some coaches that were innovative, that were doing things. I couldn't believe we were doing things long before they were talking about long before they were talking about dual setbacks at back. You understand what I'm talking about, right? Okay,
Mhm.
and or the single setback in a shotgun formation. Dude, we were doing this stuff back in the day as a PD Pony junior high J team doing this kind of stuff.
I don't have a problem necessarily with the coaches decide they want to turn around and swing back in time bomb. The best example I'm aware of the coordinator he is certainly runs off it. Coach Means an example of that. He loves the run game. He loves run, action, screens. Like, I always joke about how he can get a 4,000 yard pass out of a bologna sandwich. So he's really good in that regard. But
I
no,
never
it's
heard
not
that, but
bad.
all right.
But like it's bad to have a poor a philosophy that more old school. And like Tommy loves power. I know we're on zone. He's got our Smith. But Tom loves power. He loves ball. He loves that trenches. That's there's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually showing that. The problem is why is it that it just doesn't materialize very much. How many years ago we're trying to reestablish again?
That was something they were talking to Keller about.
And he
Right?
did fair his life like after the next year 2003 he was from everywhere throughout the game. It fair is he did go back to the run out of that.
I mean, when you bring in Jerome Bettis,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess you're pretty much dedicated to run bringing in Jerome Bettis. right? And
He
then they
he
brought
fit it
in
like a glove, man. Fit the whole town.
okay, right? And then even Willie Parker, fast Willie Parker, right? Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah, could I
right?
could I mention something about Parker? And speaking, we're talking about bad coaching and like square pegs into round holes and all that. Is that Willie Parker's, I believe, is his college coach, basically sat him for most of his college career because Willie refused to gain weight and become a power back. Can you imagine taking the fastest running back you have, or for ostensibly one of the fastest running backs in all of professional football when he finally got his chance, and being like gain weight and change your whole style of play?
That's like, hey, you know what that's like? That's like getting a bunch of guys that you drafted on your team that are great man-to-man coverage guys, and then making them play zone.
Lots and lots of zone.
I mean, it seems like a lot of that going round Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? There was always that player that was selected in the draft that was that tweener guy. Is he a linebacker or is he a defensive end?
Oh yeah,
Well,
another safety with that wonderful versatility.
okay, right? So, look, I get it about being able to play versatility and all that other stuff, but seriously, you were drafted and you're paid to play left tackle, to play right guard, to play defensive end. Play that position and be good at it. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's why BJ Finney got so many chances with us. Is like Tomlin's idea of like a lineman that could just play every position, even if they weren't, the best at it was just like he just got hard eyes. You know what I mean?
I like Spencer though.
I do too.
I do. I think he should stay in all the time.
Mhm. I don't know why he isn't. He was for a little bit of
Right,
a section there. I think someone was injured, probably, if I had to guess. But
right.
listen, if you earn, sorry, I almost swore. If you earn your gosh darn job, then to me, you've earned your job. Like, losing your job to injury sucks, but like it also sucks playing with somebody who's suboptimal. And like that's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. Unless it's
So
Kenny Pickett,
that's
he doesn't lose his job to injury.
okay, but see, that's the thing that really kills me because if you're injured and you go down and the guy that steps in to fill in for you is better than you,
Significantly.
well, guess what? Your role now
Sorry, pal.
just suddenly changed, and now you're the swing tackle guard, whatever. You know what I mean? Until he is not playing well anymore or doesn't gel with the rest of the guys or whatever the case is, then that's what's going on. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. All right.
Football's a
So
momentum game. That's a
we
good
got the
example.
Cincinnati Bengals up next.
Mm.
And guess who's practicing?
Who might that be?
Mr.
Joey
Joe
Burr.
Burrow. He's on the 21-day return list and will be eligible to play in this game.
I want to know what the Bengals record is. Let me just look at that real quick. 3-6.
It would be a
His
perfect game for the Steelers to go what? 5-6?
Here's my question. If you are in Zach Taylor's shoes, Joe Flacco, I should say, has been the least of their problems for the most part. Can you imagine? Put yourself on the field for a second, pal. Ron, can you imagine going out on the field 2 games in a row and putting up a total of 80 points, 8-0, and losing both games? Poor Joe Flacco. I never thought I would say that. I feel horrible. He's played some of the best ball of his career, and his defense just lets him down over and over. So, point being, all that to say, the offense is the least of their issues. I really don't think that pushing Joe Burrow to get back on the field, especially when you know how good Flacco is against the Steeler D, that doesn't make sense to me. I think Flacco probably should and probably will play.
If I was the Bengals, that's what I would do. I would have
Mhm.
Flacco play again against the Pittsburgh team because look how well he did the first time.
It's not the attractive pick. Like it doesn't look good on paper, but if you think about it for a couple of seconds, it makes perfect sense to keep Flacco in this particular game because it's against our particular defense.
and their schedule is a little bit, you know what I mean, as far as for the rest of the season. So now we're week 11 already.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. I mean, doesn't football fly by so fast?
yeah. It's
On the
definitely been
contrary, on the
a
contrary,
season.
hockey is like we're just getting into 20 games now.
That's why I keep mixed martial arts as my other sport that I follow heavily because it's something that is year round. You know, I've been getting into this has nothing to do with anything. We've completely gone off the rails at this point, but like that's why I watch bare knuckle. It's another thing that just you can watch year round, and there's never a shortage of stuff to watch.
Yeah.
Football, like it's always it'll always be a pipe dream to ever think that football would be even remotely close to like a full-time schedule, even if you could try to rework schedules and stuff like that. But it would just be so great to have it for a little longer than we do.
Well, all the other sports rearrange their schedules around when football games are. So, I mean, what does that tell you? Okay, what does that tell you? Like they don't want to be on Monday nights or Sunday nights because guess what? Everybody's watching NFL, right? And if you're doing games on those nights, don't count on a lot of people watching. I'm just, it's
Mm-mm.
serious. It's just serious. It's just the nature of the beast, right? So now with Cincinnati coming up, and I just was looking down here, Joe Flacco actually didn't practice with a right shoulder, and Joe
Oh,
Burrow did practice limited.
oh, okay.
So it
That's
might be due
interesting.
to another injury issue that's going to force Joe Burrow onto the field sooner rather than later because it looks like Flacco is kind of on the dinged up side.
Trade for Shadur Sanders.
I'm sorry, but I watched him play in college, and every time there was a tough game, he did not shine.
He just fell apart.
He fell apart. Okay. And the games that he did win and the stats that he did put up, because he put up some pretty decent numbers, all things considered, being a
Mhm.
quarterback in NCAA. You got to be some kind of talent to be at least playing in that division. You know what I mean? But he played for his
Mhm.
dad,
Yeah, kind of the best
so
case scenario.
you know what I mean. And then well, it's like Kenny Pickett. Everybody thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the next greatest quarterback to come in here. And when you really look at it and you break down all the numbers, he is barely a backup,
Mm.
you
If
know,
that.
if that, right? So,
He could give you game-winning drives, and he can give you long, suffocating drives that end in 3 points. That's about where Kenny's strengths remain.
which is really a shame because his game was really good in college. He had a
Hmm.
good college game. It just didn't translate into the NFL. You know what I
I
mean?
was banging the table about Kenny that he had a Matt Hasselbeck style of play, and I still stand by that.
Everybody was banging for Kenny Pickett, man, because come on, he came from Pitt. It was retribution because of the fact that they never drafted Danny Marino. You know what I
Marino
mean?
thing.
Blah 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 blah. Hey, the hometown kid gets to be drafted by his hometown team. All right, cool. Blah 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 blah. But really, when you boil it all down, he should have never been drafted in the first round, and he should have never been drafted by Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Okay,
hindsight 2020. I mean, especially like I feel like Kenny Pickett, if you threw him on like Sean McVay's squad and gave him years and years to develop, he'd probably have been all right. But Tomlin and the Steelers are a place where you essentially need to be an offensive supercomputer before you even get there. And we see even Aaron Rodgers is struggling to put up points in the Berg,
so you see it right there. You go. You see it. You called it out, man. Right there it is.
where
When
offenses go to die.
when Mike Tomlin got this team, he already had a Super Bowl winning, broken in Ben Roethlisberger,
Hmm.
right? And within
Hmm.
what 2 years, he took him to another Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
Okay, so and all you had to do was just make sure that you kept Ben happy and everything was great. When you suddenly realized that you were coming to the end of Ben's career and you thought, oh no, we have to scramble to start drafting some guys and start picking some quarterbacks, you picked up some quarterbacks. And what happened to those quarterbacks that you picked up? Where are they now? None
Mitch.
of them, none of them are playing, with the exception of Mason Rudolph, who you brought back because nobody else was available because you waited so long. And now you have to go out and get a Mitch Trubisky or a already seasoned Russell Wilson or Justin Fields to come in, who's already an established quarterback to try to come in and run this offense. No, you have to draft a quarterback, Mr. Tomlin, and you have to bring him up through your system, Mr. Tomlin, in order to have a good quarterback like a Ben Roethlisberger, like an Eli Manning, like an Aaron Rodgers when he was in his prime. I mean, come on. You can't keep bringing in these old hat guys that didn't make it or are already past their prime to keep trying to come in here because you can't develop a quarterback.
You know what's funny? Do you know what some of the most quarterback development you've seen under a Mike Tomlin squad was when Mason Rudolph took a couple steps forward in his second or third year with Matt Canada as his quarterback coach. That was some of the best it got in terms of developing QBs in the Berg. Isn't
When
that something?
Fichtner was quarterback coach, right? Come on.
Oh, Randy. Randy.
Okay, right?
God bless him. He seems like a very kind person. I
He
just,
is. He is a very kind man. You know what I mean? And he never had a bad word to say about anybody. And if you look at any of his
no.
press conferences, he was all about team. He was all about, this is on me. This is on me. You know what I mean? This
Mhm.
I got a great group of guys. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So, all right, but offensive coordinator, he was not.
No, not quite. I mean, that was essentially just Ben's offense. And Ben wanted to throw the ball every single play because he wants to be in charge of how they win and all that. I don't think that anybody was complaining when Peyton Manning took over offenses and threw the ball a million times. So I get it, but I also feel like Ben's version of throwing the ball a million times was gravely different than guys like Breeze or Peyton, where they were like dissecting people, whereas Ben was kind of just go to that out route. You know what I mean? He just kind of had this offense that everybody kind of knew about. That's why the Jaguars did so well against us because
Yep.
they knew exactly what was coming at
Yep.
all times.
And the same thing with the Patriots.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, the Patriots had tape on us.
yeah. Illegal tape. Thank you very
Illegal tape.
much.
Yeah, really. Anyway, so here we go now. Cincinnati, week 11. Pittsburgh is 5-4, right? Or no, they're 5-5.
I'm actually not sure. Let me look. 5-4.
5-4. Still leading the division, although I don't know how.
Yeah,
Um,
the Ravens are only a game behind us, and they haven't had
and we
Lamar for
haven't
a lot
played
of it.
them yet, and we
Yeah,
haven't
we haven't
played
played.
Baltimore yet. And
No.
so we played two games against our division opponents. We lost one of them. We're going to be playing another one against Cincinnati. If Pittsburgh does not win this game, it is done. They are over.
I think that you're going to see a pretty downward trend if we lose this game. This is a game you have to take home. You just have to.
It's a divisional opponent. If you want to do anything remotely resembling playoffs, then you
Playoffs.
you need to win this game. And if you don't, if you lay another egg and whatever, that's it. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I think if they lose this game, you might start hear rumblings.
Rumblings about Tomlin. Yeah, here's this is going to sound overly pessimistic, and I'm not trying to make it sound that way. It's just kind of be how it comes out. So hopefully you'll forgive me. Is that the Roonies don't care? They don't care at all. They care
Nope.
about the bottom. Well, maybe not the Roonies. AR2, like our guy who's actually running things right now. Maybe I should clarify that because
Good
historically the Roonies.
clarification. Yes, good
Yeah.
clarification.
Yeah, the Roonies historically have cared very much about winning. I'm just kind of not sure. This feels like a more of a bottom line organization at the current moment, but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Well, when they come out and say that every year has been profitable, and they're only going 8-8 or
Uh,
9-8 or nine, you know what I mean? And you don't get to play any playoff games at home. Like I say this about everybody. When you play a playoff game at home, the gate's yours. You don't have to share that with the league. Everything
Mhm.
that you make on the playoffs is all yours. You don't have to share that, right? So just think how much more profitable you could be if you played a playoff game at home.
Talking about
or
playoffs.
or heaven forbid, two playoff games at home. Oh, whoa,
Hold on,
whoa.
hold on. Whoa, we're getting a little out of hand now. I mean, I couldn't fathom such a thing.
Oh my gosh, where's my defibrillator?
No, I did the bootleg football guys were making fun of that. They're like, if by some miracle they get past the wild card round, and I do mean miracle, like
Right.
can't argue with you, bro. Can't argue
you
with you.
know? Woo! You ain't shown me much yet, boys. So, all right. So,
Um,
uh, predictions? Dare I even go there? You
oh
predicted a loss against
man,
the Colts,
I did.
right? And we both predicted a win against the Chargers.
No,
So,
I predicted we were going to lose to the Chargers.
oh yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. You're right. You predicted the loss, and I predicted the win. So,
Mhm.
okay.
Um, I'm gonna be a pest. I'm gonna be rainy day 3 days in a row, 3 weeks in a row. I'm gonna predict a loss. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a little closer than we expect. I'm gonna say 31-24. Think that we'll get enough points. Maybe, it's not like Flacco never turns it over. Let's say we get some kind of fumble or a pick six or something.
If he plays,
Oh, not
if
Flacco. I'm sorry. Burrow.
right, if Joe Burrow plays, we're losing all day.
Yeah.
If Joe Flacco plays, we're losing all day. I This is one of those games where you need to win this game, but I'm going to predict something very similar to what you're going to predict. 31-10.
A shellacking.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz look, either you're going to do it or you're not,
Mhm.
right? There's no in between like you said. It's either all the way there or all the way not.
Look, we are in the midst of seeing Joe Burrow take more damage accumulatively in less time than Andrew Luck. So if we get hobbled Joe Burrow and we with that garbage O line they have, let's just call it what it is, and the fact that they can't put together an O line to save their golden goose is pretty crazy to me, even all these years later. They don't have a defense. They don't have an offensive line. They have three amazing elite players and a little bit extra, and that's about it. And
Pretty
if we
much.
can't, at this point, if we can't just eke out this victory, then I'm not really sure what we're doing. I think from that point on, if that's the case, and we do, we'll be chasing that 500 mark. That'll
Yeah.
be our big goal for the season if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, because I'm with you on that. Even though we both agree this is a must-win game for
We
Pittsburgh,
gotta.
but we're both predicting a loss.
Yeah. Must win games it used to mean something around these parts.
And games around this time of the year used to mean something around these parts because it would mean, the more
Yeah.
victories you had, the closer you were to a division. The closer you
Mhm.
were to winning the division means the closer you are to making it to the playoffs. And if you win a division, you have a better chance of getting a home playoff game instead of going on the road for a playoff game. Just saying. Just just throwing it out there. Hey,
Hey,
you know.
whenever we've gotten our home playoff games, we still kind of, snap the ball over Ben's head into the end zone on the very first play from scrimmage. So I don't. Does home field
Uh
advantage work on us anymore?
I mean, at least they get to hear Renegade.
Oh, goodness gracious. We need to chill on Renegade for a little bit, all right? Like
Seriously.
other teams aren't intimidated by it. Other teams actually will blare Renegade at their own practices to get ready for hindsight. It doesn't work anymore. We got to think of some.
Got to
I
cut
just
back on it.
think this is my theory. You tell me if I'm off base here. I think that a lot of people really Renegade's an awesome song. We can all agree it's a great fight song, a great rally song. But I think the main reason people love it is because there's so many Steeler fans that hate the "Here We Go" song, the almost a cappella, like the little. I think that they hate that song so much. The Roger Craig song, there it is. I think they hate that song so much that they like stick to Renegade, and it's like I think we need something new. We need some fresh stuff.
Okay, the fresh stuff I think would be like what they did when they played the old Franco's Italian Army song.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Right? That Italian guy up there singing that song.
Gives me Rocky energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay. Or Alien. Um, yeah, you know.
I
All
really
right.
liked Black and Yellow. I liked when Black and Yellow was kind of our 2010 fight song. It just sucked that the season ended the way it did. And now that
It
song's
did.
kind of
Yeah.
painted for
Yeah.
me a little bit.
It's funny when that song first came out, we were walking around the pro shop at the stadium, and they were playing this song at the pro shop in the stadium. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, okay, Le'Veon Bell song. Okay, I mean,
Hey, Wiz is a little better at rapping than Le'Veon Bell. We gotta give that much to him.
Yeah,
Have you
gotta
ever
give
heard
that much.
Antonio Brown rap? Have you ever heard any of AB's music?
He made music. Is it
it's
just as
it's
angry as that little man was?
it's and I don't say this lightly. I don't say this to kind of throw this out there and make it a full joke out of it, but it's CTE music.
Yeah.
No, like I listen to me, you will agree with me. Or
No,
like listen to it, you will agree with me.
no. What I'm saying is he just as an angry little man in his
Not
rap
of the
music?
music necessarily. It's a lot of kind of stereotypical stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
If you
All
told
right. Well.
AI to make rap music, that's what it would be.
Ooh, really? That good? All right. Wow. Because AI can't really know anything about rap music. I mean, seriously. Okay.
Oh man.
So, all right, my brother. Where can we find all your great stuff? Where can we get all your great stuff? And where can we get you?
So you can find me on well actually I don't even really plug my Twitter anymore because I hardly use it. It's such a cesspool these days. So we'll just say you can find my Yu-Gi-Oh content and Gage Ryan video. I'll look to put more of that stuff back up there here soon. It's been a little bit though. You can find my MMA content at Contender MMA, and especially that'll be starting up even more so once the football season's over. And you can find myself, Ron, Frayne, Steve, and the rest of us for all of our Steeler content that's not here at Five Star Matchup.
For sure, for sure. Thank you all very much for watching The Huddle, a black and gold podcast where we were able to sit down and talk about the upcoming game here with week, what is it, 11?
I think it's 11, something like
Yeah, week 11 against the Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers.
that. Mhm.
You can find all me and my stuff on X at RNJ underscore media, and you can find all the great stuff that we're doing on our YouTube channel. Please hit the like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you all for joining us. We will catch you all on the next one.